Hello YouTubers, welcome to my channel Try It Yourself, and today's video will be about reconstructed vehicles or vehicles with a rebuilt title. And before I start, I guess I should mention that I have right now 4 cars in my family, or my family own 4 cars, and every one of them have rebuilt title. Even my work vehicle, my Ford Transit, it's a vehicle with a rebuilt title or reconstructed vehicle. 3 out of 4 I bought the way they are, and this one, Ford Escape, I actually did all of the repairs myself. So what is a reconstructed vehicle, or what does it mean when vehicle has rebuilt title? Well, simply said, it's a vehicle that had some kind of damage. Most of the time it was in a car accident that the damage is actually exceeding the vehicle value. An insurance company decides that it's actually cheaper to sell the vehicle the way it is, damaged, destroyed, rather than put a whole lot of money to rebuild vehicle to the drivable condition. And normally when they take the estimate, it goes to the highest bidder. Like I'm driving the Fords, so they go to the Ford dealership and they give you a quote, how much is it gonna take to repair it. So they sell the vehicle the way it is, destroyed on the auction, and people who's actually doing this is like a side business or whatever. They buy vehicle the way they are and they sell them. So a few things you need to remember when you're buying with vehicles with a rebuilt title. You have to remember that the insurance company is actually understand what they're doing, and if vehicle was actually claimed as a salvage title or was destroyed, they understand the repair is actually going to be significant or very costly. So insurance company, if it's selling the vehicle with that kind of title, there is some kind of major problem with it. When I'm buying a vehicle with a rebuilt title, I'm always staying from the vehicle with a fire damage, with the flood damage. That's pretty much the two of the worst kinds. Fire damage, you know, there's nothing to explain there. But flood damage, you know, the vehicle, the car will look amazing. There's no damage to it. It's clean. It's everything. But you have to remember, there is a reason why insurance company sold it as a salvage title, because there's going to be a lot of money to replace all of the electrical, computer and all of the components, because water eventually will get there. And it's pretty much driving a lottery all your life. If you decide to buy a car like that, you don't know when it can stop. It can just stop in the middle of the road. A friend of mine actually in the past bought a car like that, and they had to just replace, you know, it cost them half of the price of the car. And another thing, it's, you know, when it's a water damage, I can guarantee you nobody's gonna clean it 100%. So at some point you're gonna have a fungus growing somewhere over there, and for some people it's nothing, but for other people it's actually a deadly stuff. So, you know, if you're a family guy, you know, if you have to drive your kids in that car, I really don't want to, you know, drive my kids in the car like that, you know, potentially, you know, just threatening the life of my kids. So that's the 2 things that I'm staying away when I'm buying a rebuilt vehicle. Basically what I do, the first thing when I buy a vehicle, I actually look for the worst case scenario. So if I have to do additional repairs when I buy this vehicle, would it make sense to me to buy a vehicle like that, or actually buy a vehicle with a clean title? When you buy already rebuilt vehicle, it will look nice, but you have to understand one thing: even the best mechanics or the guys who work on all those cars, they actually have only one goal: to make money. So even the best of them out there are gonna try to cut some corners, a lot of times maybe not intentionally. So I'm gonna show you a few examples how I am buying those kind of cars and what I'm looking for. And basically I'm gonna show you on my van that I own for 6 months already since I bought it, and some of those problems already starting to show. Again, some of it actually poor repair, poor work, and some of it is actually you know, because you could not know until you actually drive a little bit after that. So that's how the paint job on my van starting to show in perfection a month after I bought it. Fender, I start showing this little black dots, and look how the paint on the hood on my van looks 6 months after I bought it. Right here, see this paint right here, and now it's even on this side when I didn't have it at the very beginning. So basically the problem with this one, the guys did really poor job sanding, because what's causing this, when they had to paint, you know, you obviously cannot, they had to, this is by the way original hood, whatever they did to it, they had to repaint it because it was be a little damage or something. So they had to sand the old paint so it would be flat. You know, you cannot spray glossy paint on top of the glossy, it will never stick. You know, I just wonder when, if it's even gonna stop or actually gonna go all the way down over here. But this is a really poor job. The same thing over here, it didn't, on my fender it didn't change much, but this one, this passenger side fender actually was bent too much, so they had to buy aftermarket, and aftermarket comes painted with that black primer, and that's what you see over here. They didn't sand that one either. So there's could be two things over here: either they bought a really cheap paint that doesn't stick well, or they actually did a really sloppy job not painting, not sanding the surface before actually painting this thing. But one thing you should pay attention when you buy a rebuilt vehicle, when you know which area was damaged, which I'm gonna show you in a little bit later. Just pay attention to the little stuff like this. See, there is an overspray. So these guys were lazy enough, just, you know, it's so easy actually to pop this vent over here, sand it. So they decided to either tape it or whatever, and you could see stuff like this. See, it's oversprayed over here on this side, oversprayed over here on this side, oversprayed here. Same thing over here at the top, right? You could see all of this stuff. So obviously when they spray like that, they did not sand this area around this vent for sure, because, you know, otherwise if they would sand this with the grinder, they would scratch this plastic. So obviously they stay away with this, and that's what you end up having like this. So for me, this is a work vehicle. I really don't care about stuff like that. And again, it comes to the point that if I will have to eventually repaint this thing, you know, let's say I would have to repaint this hood and this fender again, this gonna cost me for sure under $1,000. So on top of this thing, this vehicle, I had a problem a month later with my hub on the passenger side. It was super noisy. 1 month after driving, I started hearing this thing, and whoever repaired this thing, they replaced the passenger side, but did not replace the driver's side. So that, you know, I actually replaced both at the same time, and that cost me $700. So basically, for now, I'm already on the road 80,000 miles with this thing, and basically it come out as an extra $2,000, maybe a little bit less. So that's what I'm looking for when I buy a rebuilt vehicle. Doesn't make sense to buy a car like this and expect to pay more. So in my case, basically whatever I pay for this thing, at some point, you know, additional repair would cost me $2,000. I think it still makes sense because I saved on this van about $10,000. So basically now it comes down that I saved only $8,000, which is still pretty good deal. So here's how my van looked like before somebody bought it and repaired it. As you can see, the damage was done to the front passenger corner right here. The driver's side seems okay. Obviously airbag deployed, but this fender over here, the door, everything is fine. Obviously the bumper cover is done, it's gone. Hood popped up over here. It's kind of, I don't know what they did over here to make the original one work, but over here, if you could see the front, the passenger side fender, it got all kinds of chewed up. It was pretty much impossible to reshape it to what it was, so they just replaced this one. It's actually one of the cheapest parts pretty much. They put a new bumper cover, new grill over here, but look at this little thing. See this? That's the fog light, and I don't have it, and I'm gonna show it on the other one. And right now my vehicle is actually throwing a code that this wire is disconnected, so they just put a aftermarket bumper. I mean, this light is gone, but on this side you can see that it should be a fog light lamp originally. So obviously the harness is, the computer is hooked up, you know, thinking the wire, the light, it should be still there, but obviously it's not connected now. So how do I find, obviously there's more pictures, you know, over here it looked really nice all around. Airbags, that's what looked like, pretty scary on the inside. So how do I find these pictures? So here's the basically just another van just like mine. You know, I spent some time basically for this shape, size, model, so I'm gonna stick with this, but it's gonna be very similar to any other one if you're gonna buy. So for example, this Ford over here, just like mine, 350, high top, extended lengths, you know, you can go on the pictures, it looks pretty nice, blah blah blah. But by the way, same story, look at this fog lamp, it's missing. And right now they're selling it, advertising for $35,000, but this is, by the way, tricky dealership. This $2,000 is actually, if you're gonna put a down payment $2,000, or if you're gonna trade in your vehicle worth $2,000. So basically right now it's at $37,000 for this vehicle. And right here, that's what we're looking for. Reconstructed title, right? The mileage, did it show here at the top? It didn't. The mileage is almost 57,000 miles. So just copy paste or copy this VIN number, which is going to be provided over here, and we go to the Google over here, just paste, search, and we just go by the VIN number. And most of the time in our 21st century, there's going to be some kind of website showing that's what it looks like before the damage. This one is actually nice and clean on the other side, but same thing. See, there's a fog light, but on a new one it's missing because they had to replace the bumper. So this one, for some reason, all of the lights got stolen. Airbags deployed, That's what it looks like on the inside. Tires over here with the damage. This is the closer view of the tire. That's the VIN number to confirm. Last 4625. See, 4625. So that's the same vehicle. That's what it looks like. And as you can see, the damage was done pretty much to this side over here. The shadow kind of not showing it, but the most of the damage was done over here below the bumper, below the fender, right in the suspension. So this screwed up this thing pretty bad. You know, this, you know, you have to remember that most likely, even after repair, you're gonna have to go check alignment yourself, you know, unless you want to trust these guys. So that's this one. That's another one. Oh, that's actually 250. It's a little bit different one. So but reconstructed title. I mean, I don't need to copy that part. That's the VIN number for that one. I already looked it up, but paste, search. Over here, that's the old Amazon vehicle over here. This is actually maybe look a little bit scarier than the previous one, but believe it or not, this is a lot less damage. Well, maybe not, because if you could see the bumper over here on the right here, the damage was done to the bumper. So over here it's kind of guessing game. He obviously destroyed all of these radiators and stuff over here, but it looks like it didn't touch the suspension over here. Anyway, so here's another one. Let's say all of this stuff looks pretty scary to you because, I mean, possibly got to the engine, maybe messed up suspension. And I know actually a guy who bought a pickup truck with something like this, and they were going to the Ford, what do they call that place that they rebuild them over here at the Ford dealership, and they could not align the tires right, and it was basically just destroying tires every 6 months, you know. So that's kind of scary stuff. But here's another one. Let's say that's another 350, and they also sell it for, well, this one a little bit more. This is 41,000. Also reconstructed title. This one has actually a lot less mileage, only 20,000, 21,000. So that's maybe something to look for. Okay, there's pictures over here. So pick one of the websites over here and look at that. The front, nice and clean. So what's wrong with this car? This van, why is it reconstructed right here? Because the damage is in the back. So actually, you know, if you're buying a car like this for the work especially, this is a really nice setup. I mean, over here is a little bit scary, you know. Looks like the door at the top, and at the bottom, you know, the whole body, you know, twisted maybe a little bit. But the good thing about this van, the whole front, the engine, transmission, all of that stuff is untouched 100%. All of the damage is behind the rear axle. So whatever damage is done is actually not suspension, not engine, not transmission, you know. So something to look for, something like that. So airbags didn't deploy over here. That's what it looks like. This is a nice picture actually. Somebody rear-ended this van. So that's another idea. So anyway, again, this is like a really nice van, and you know, I was actually looking for vans like this. So this one $41,000. Another one is 39. So 41, 30, 39. This one 56,000 miles. This one 20,000 miles. So let's check it out like on the Car Gurus. Let's say we pick the same settings, extending high roof, and 43,000 miles, 50, 39, 47. This one over here, in my own experience, like a van like this with a clean title, and for some reason $10,000 cheaper than the average price, something very fishy. And like I said, in my personal experience, one time I drove to Georgia, spent a whole day, basically wasted a whole day, and the pictures did not show. The thing was missing a whole bunch of all kinds of stuff. It was beat up, and obviously on the pictures they're not gonna show you. But anyway, what I'm trying to show, to say over here, you know, 50, 48, 45. This, you know, that's the vans like this. So that's the price. You got either, you know, approximately 10,000, maybe $8,000 less, with a potentially, you know, like in my case, I had to add about $2,000 to it. So this is something, you know, here's the True Car, another website, 53,000, 60, 49. So it all depends. 4,000 miles, that's why it's so expensive. And by the way, if you're interested, most of the aftermarket parts, that's the website for you. Carpart.com. That's the best website on the internet that you can buy aftermarket parts, and they actually grade them A, which is going to be like top-notch part, B, C, and so on. Distance from your price. So carpart.com, and most of those guys actually buying parts from here. Here's another thing to check, which I don't have this problem on my van, but a lot of times, you know, when there's a damage to the door or quarter panels, the guys, instead of replacing the door, because like door, it would cost, it depends on the vehicle. If it's a small sedan, it's somewhere $400. I mean, on this big one, it could be $1,000. I didn't look. So what those guys do, instead of buying $500 door, they actually use a whole lot of bundle on this thing, and at some point it's gonna start cracking and chipping the same thing. So the easiest way to do, if there's metal over there or bundle, just grab a magnet like this, or any magnet, you know, like, and just go, just go around the vehicle, especially the areas where you know there was a damage on this car that you're trying to buy, and just see if the door or the quarter panel, because door is one thing, another thing if you're buying a sedan, you know, this area behind the rear axle, you know, it's a little bit harder to replace than the like a front fender. You know, this is a one solid piece, you're gonna have to weld it. So a lot of times guys are cutting corners and just using a lot of bundle, and when it's too thick, you know, and you're gonna notice if you're gonna stick a magnet to it, like, see, if it's metal, is, you know, I can actually pull it off, but if it's gonna be bundle, it will not stick, and down the road for sure the bundle gonna dry up even more, and the paint gonna crack on it, and, you know, chip, and you're gonna have to pay extra for the paint job. And if it's a sedan and you have to paint like a whole car, because you know, they not just to remember, if painter doing a paint job on your vehicle, they are not going to be paid in, like in my case, just a hood over here. They're gonna try to do, which in this case my camera is not gonna show well, but you could see that they didn't do it over here on this quarter panel. This is still original paint. This is the repainted surface. You can see a little bit over here, different shade of white, but the professional painters, when they do it, they actually try to blend in. So if, let's say, they have to paint the hood, they're gonna sand a little more, and they smoothly blend in about, let's say, if they have to paint hood only, they should stop somewhere at this point, slowly just blending from the hood, you know, spray less, and that's gonna be like your 0 point. And maybe the last thing to consider when you're buying vehicle cheaper, you have to remember that at some point you're gonna have to sell your car, and it's also gonna be cheaper than the other ones too. So you're basically buying a lower value vehicle, which is basically saving money on investment. You know, if hypothetically you bought it 10,000 cheaper, you sell it 10,000 cheaper. So you know, you're gonna have to figure out if all of this potential headache is worth the hassle, and you know, potentially saving money, or potentially actually get it more headache and more issues and more money. My channel is actually small enough, so I have a luxury to read every comment and answering them actually on most of them. So if you guys, any of you, had a experience buying rebuilt vehicle and you ran in some kind of issues or something that I didn't touch on my video, it would be really interesting to read it, and actually, you know, it would be educational for me as well. So please leave a comments under this video if you have anything to add, or if you ran in some kind of really interesting situation with the rebuilt vehicles. If this video was helpful for you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and shoot me a few likes. Thank you and good luck.